Candy Williams from Educational Innovation 360. We're talking about how you get students pumped and really excited about participating in class. And then how do you overcome barriers? What is the technology you're using, the body movements that you're using, and the techniques that you're using in your classroom today to make sure students are up and actively participating? You think about the things that directly impact learning outcomes, and that's participation. Really looking at the 42% of non-participants and then the 58% of active participants in the study, but really understanding and looking at your student population and seeing how they are engaging with the content. Do you have a safe classroom environment, right? Is your classroom safe? Do you provide wait time for your students? Do students know that they can not have the right answer and be okay in your classroom? Thinking about what is an anonymous response system that you can implement immediately to get a response to get a pulse of where your students are, and what does your culture say about wrong answers? Is it a from the teacher? Is it a students are laughing, right? What are you doing to ensure that all students are supportive of the students in your classroom? And do you have clear expectations and protocols aligned in any activity that you do within class? We know that technology can make things that much more fun. So thinking about digital response tools that you can use, from using their iPads, a lot of schools are now one-to-one, scoreboards, Socratic methods, really thinking about what is your virtual discussion boards that you have, or old school discussion boards that you can have students go to the board and have discussion, interactive whiteboards that you can include during class, social emotional learning platforms where you can ask a question and all students are engaged and they're up out their seat to really convey the topic at hand. Now, these are some of my favorites, but you can use so many that you know of, right? From the jigsaw method to where students are actually becoming experts and accountable for the research that they're doing. Think, Pair, Share is a good one that we kind of always use. I've even used like Think, Ink, Pair, Share, where they're actually writing down content. Of course, gallery walks where students are displaying their work on the board, where other students are actually looking at it, reading it, and sometimes having Post-it notes and adding to it. For corners, this is really good. I used to use this all the time, where students, this is a yes, no, and maybe, or just yes, definitely yes, maybe yes, right? Really thinking of students going to a corner and not being neutral and taking a stance and being able to advocate for what they believe, as well as role playing where everybody gets a perspective, where we can get deeper empathy for different characters in your classroom. And don't forget about differentiating, right? Thinking about the differentiated participation options that you have readily available at your hand, from digital creation, where students can make their own podcast in the classroom, thinking about what are the websites, what are the videos, how can students actually showcase the learning that they have, from artistic expression, students drawing, students art, music, drama, really getting the students into character and into some of their background that they would love to bring and show you in class, from physical movements to dances to kinesthetic, just to be able to demonstrate understanding through body movement. That is so creative. From verbal contributions, everybody is not verbal, but really just thinking about what discussions can they have in small group, then bring it to a larger group, and then eventually full group presentation, as well as written responses, from journals to, of course, your exit tickets that you have, and then reflection prompts, deep reflection on what we have learned today in class. Now, I don't know about you, but I love me some good incentive programs, thinking about what is the intrinsic motivation that you can have for a self-directed learning, where students can pick their own direction and authenticate the response based on the research that they found. Of course, peer recognition, where people are celebrating each other for the activities that they did or the success they had in the classroom. Meaningful rewards, where you're often thinking about a point system, you're giving Robux away, fake Robux away, right? Or thinking about what is the valued privileges. Maybe you get to sit at the teacher's desk because this is a privilege that you've earned today. And think about, what does it mean to track progress, whether that's a portfolio where students can share during parent-teacher night, or goal setting, little mini goals where students can be successful, having, setting their own SMART goal and being successful and getting some type of celebration at the end. Now, if you know me, you know I'm all about that cultural, responsive, and participation. Really thinking about what does it mean to have a lens of a diverse perspective on this subject, topic, or idea. Thinking about multicultural traditions that you can actually bring in the classroom, different backgrounds, worldwide views, even linguistic inclusion, right? Thinking about what are the home language that are being, that you have, and how do you bring that into the fold, and what does that look like? From communication styles, just value different cultures and different cultural patterns, and thinking about the individual approaches to different scenarios based on cultural background and experience. Love! And then last but not least, family engagements. How do you bring the family into the fold to make it that much more meaningful and bring in family expertise, cultural background, cultural awareness into the classroom learning? That is power. And then with anything, you have to have some type of assessment and feedback. How do you know if you're doing great? Well, you get your feedback, right? Thinking about what are the self-assessments that you have in place for you, not only your students, but you yourself. And thinking about what are your goals? What are your prompts and rubrics that you have? Now you can have a prompt or rubric inside of ChatGPT or any learning language model that you use, and ask yourself based on the evidence that you have received to give you data, feedback, and support and thoughts. Peer feedback is crucial. Maybe students are giving audio feedback on things that they would like to tweak for the lesson for next time, right? Maybe next year's students, feedback on each other's work, whether it's audio or written. Maybe you have teacher conferences where there's little mini check-ins that students actually discuss their participation, discuss their own work, and they discuss their personalized goals with their parents and families. Whether you are tracking progress or the students are tracking their progress, thinking of what is a visual that we can have all the time up, and thinking about how frequently are you putting new content up to show that students are reaching their goals, that they are making growth over time. And last but not least, celebration is at the heart of any program in education. Thinking about milestones, what are the reinforcements to make sure that students continue working on their goal, and being able to back off to make sure that students continue valuing the goal that they set for themselves. Now, I'm all about the implementation. Implementation time. Really thinking about what are you going to do now? What are you going to do today? Thinking of like building your foundation, establishing your classroom environment. What are your protocols that you have in place? Thinking of, something easy, a low lifting, pair share, and how often you are using it to track to see if it's making progress. Also think of like, how do you expand on your options that you have chose? What is your differentiated pathway that you use? Maybe you picked a new strategy like Jigsaw. Maybe you tried gallery walks. Thinking of what are some challenges that you can implement today. Pick one and always refine and ask students, well, how can we make this better? And always recognize students. And another thing that is not on here that I think is crucial is asking, how do we do? How can we make this better? What does this look like if we did this again? And having students share examples of how they could improve or how the whole situation can improve. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will talk to you later. Bye!